other families are out there, and the best thing that you can do is always ask for help. Even if you might feel no, kind of reserved, no, I don't want this stuff being out. I always tell anybody that's looking for help, just think that it's a pay it forward type avenue.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
where you're getting this, and then the next time if somebody is struggling, pay that same information forward to them.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Brighter Together podcast. My name is Janet Courtney, and my special guest today is Ann Skufca. Ann is the Director of Student and Parent Engagement at Warren Local School District, and that's in Vincent, Ohio. Ann, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Janet, for having me.
So, Ann, tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming the Director of Student and Parent Engagement, and just a little bit about Warren Local School District.
So I took over this brand new program 4 years ago at Warren. They created it to help all of our 2,100 student and families here in the Vincent, Ohio area and surrounding small communities that make up Warren. And the main purpose of my role here at Warren is to offer several resources in our community to our families that are struggling. And in our community, we have 42% of our students that are needing free and reduced lunches. And so for those families that don't have the capability, it's always tough to try and get located one specific source to go to. And 4 years ago, Warren said, we need something like that. And with my background in finding resources and working with the state and students, they contacted me, and I was happy to come on over to Ohio to help join them and help that student population.
Awesome. So Warren is that where is Warren?
Warren is in southeast Ohio. It's right on the border going into West Virginia, so right on the Ohio River.
Gotcha. But not over by Cincinnati Southwest. So you're
No,
over on the other
no,
side of the
this
state.
another city that is located near there is Marietta, Athens. So we're right in
Okay.
between those two.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. I lived in Ohio for a while. My husband was actually born and raised in Ohio, but he was born in little tiny town called Rockford, Ohio, near Salina. So I know a little bit of Ohio. We lived in Cincinnati. We lived in Dayton. My daughter was born in Cincinnati, and my sons were born in Dayton. So, but I don't know that side of the state nearly as well as the west side of the state. So,
Yeah, being
okay.
a small rural community, it's very, very small.
So how did this program come about?
Well,
Like,
we
what
just
did they?
had
Is it a grant or no? Go ahead.
well, it first started out as a 2-year grant, and then
Okay.
they had to try and work that way into the budget. But the main thing is that it came about because there was so much of a need in this area,
Mm-hmm.
especially with, mental health, um, and other types of resources. This area is a big McKinney-Vento uh, population, where you have, families that are doubled up, students living with grandparents as caretakers. Um, so there was that need, and when you work with a lot of the students just right across the river, you know, why not be able to help over uh, in that other state as well?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. 42%. Yeah, it's a
It's
lot
a
of
lot.
poverty. Yeah, it's a lot. And, kids can't come to school and learn if they haven't met all of their other basic needs, right? So what do you see the most of?
So I see a lot of parents that need assistance, not just financial, but transportation. There's over 70% of our student body, K through 12, that take the bus, daily to school. And if they need to like go to the doctors, there's no source out here as far as like a cab service to pick up those families and take them to the doctors if the parents don't have a vehicle or a working vehicle for that matter. And, working with our community um, resources, they didn't see a need to have um, taxis, like a taxi service over here, but, trying to tell them, "Come over, see what these families have," because with a rural, community, you have kids that are driving, like, a half hour to school, from our buses just to get there at school, and, it's there's a need, but, trying to tell them, "Come on over." There you're going to service so many other people, but, again, in this area, we have a hospital that is 25 minutes away, and
Wow.
that's going one way, and then it's another 30 minutes another way. So there's nothing really in this rural town. We always have to go other places to try and help our families. But the
And how
best
many
thing
students? Oh, so no, go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead. I'm
we have 2,100 students, but the best
100.
thing
Okay.
that we are doing now, and we're getting a, clinic here at the school. So we're gonna have a school-based clinic starting up on March 9th to try and help eliminate all this, extra stuff for our students and trying to keep them in school. So the clinic will have, a nurse practitioner as well as, um, we're working with our dental and vision, so those kids that need to have those annual visits can get those done, but are not going to have that much out of seat time because it's located here on our campus. So that's a good
Gotcha.
thing looking forward.
Yeah, that is a good thing. And is it just gonna serve the kids or is it gonna serve the whole
No, it's
population?
going to be able to serve the whole entire community as well as the faculty and staff that is at Warren too.
Wow, they're gonna be busy really fast.
Yes.
Yeah. Really fast, really fast. Wow. So, um, so the poverty that's there, you said McKinney-Vento. What is McKinney-Vento? Is that like an employer or
So
I don't know that.
McKinney-Vento is, um, families it's a state-funded program here in Ohio,
Okay.
and
Gotcha.
it
Okay.
is for anybody that is homeless or
Ah, okay.
doubled up,
I'm
and
glad I asked because
so
I was like, I was feeling kind of, I don't know what that is. I think I need to ask. So,
Yep. So McKinney-Vento, it has resources in itself, but there
okay.
are certain qualifications that relate to McKinney-Vento. And so if that's any student that is not living with their biological parent or guardian, um,
Okay.
because we also have a lot of families that are single moms or single dads. Um, and those resources help them as well to waive student fees, be able to help them. Uh, if they're in high school and they're a McKinney-Vento student, they can go ahead and get um, when they're ready, get their driver's license and it's not going to cost them um, anything. So there's several perks as well as the free and reduced lunches as well.
Gotcha. Okay. That helps. That helps me to understand it a little bit. So, what industry do you guys have in Warren?
As far as
Well, if you've got 42% poverty, was there like a factory that went out or is it just,
no,
I
it
mean,
was mainly farmland in that, and it's
okay.
it's still a lot of farm, but several um schools. We had tiny little schoolhouses in that, and then they consolidated it into one large campus. Um,
Okay.
but many either go and work over at a factory, which is in a city next to us in Belpre. Um, and it's called Solvay. Others, travel 30 minutes to go and work at the hospitals, or even further. So, it's
So the
definitely
school is
spread out.
probably yeah, the school is probably one of your biggest, employers then in the area, right?
Yep, and it's centrally located. The one thing that in this area of Vincent, there is no pharmacy. So we have to,
My
the students have to travel either over to Marietta or Belpre to try and go and fill prescriptions too if they are needing it.
I've never understood why hospitals don't have a pharmacy. You know, you go, my son just had surgery on Tuesday, and it's Thursday. He's doing really well. He actually was here for a little bit. He's an adult, but he's not married. So, mom. I'm always going to be mom, right? And so I went with him to the surgery, and then my husband ran to the pharmacy afterwards to get his medication. They gave him one pain pill before he left, but then you have to wait for the pharmacy to pick it up. And I've never understood that. Why don't they just have the medication there for you so that you can just go, just, I don't know. To me, it just seems very
It's
upside down and
always
backwards.
funny like that.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, and the last thing you want to do, especially if you're a single person all by yourself and you've had a major procedure done, first of all, you shouldn't be driving, but go and get your pain medicine. And I don't know. I just it's totally off topic, but it's the same thing you're talking about. It's like,
Yep,
hello, why is that the way things are? I don't know. So
yep. And that's why
crazy.
the school-based clinic is definitely gonna help.
Yeah. And you guys are going to be able to have prescriptions there as well?
They'll be able to go ahead and, call them into a pharmacy and have the
Oh, okay.
pharmacy actually deliver them to the school.
Deliver.
If it's,
Nice.
something stronger, then the parent actually has to go and pick that up themselves.
Well, yeah, they've got all kinds of different classifications for drugs.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. Having had a child on Concerta, I totally get it. So it's like, oh my gosh, class 3 drug. It's a class 3 drug. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I don't know. I'm kind of like, it's interesting. It's just, the other thing that, schools, because you guys are doing so much with social services, and there's a cost for that, right? And how did the school, once the grant ended, how did they manage the funds to be? I mean, obviously it's critical and it's needed. And you guys, obviously your superintendent is forward thinking because he's doing this, right? And finding the funds. But how are you guys managing that? Do you know?
So with that, there was a lot of planning, both by our treasurer for the school as well as
Hmm.
our superintendent. And the main thing is that it's based off of the levy. Wow. So we have
Ah,
the
okay.
school levy that helped supported this role. And last year the levy was on the ballot, and it passed by 6 votes. Um,
Wow.
so
6
it was
votes.
a very critical thing, and we wanted to make sure that we got all the information out to the voters on this is actually what the dollars and cents add up to. So it helped, um, by those 6 people actually voting and paying attention to the numbers. Um, but again, everything that we do is always for the kids.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So how did you I know you said originally when we talked even before we were on. Tell me a little bit about your journey because it sounds like it was really interesting. You had a heart for education, but you ended up not in college, not going that way. So just give us a little bit of that.
yeah. So when I started college, I wanted to be a elementary teacher. I grew up with an educator for a parent, and it was like, great, you can always have summers off, you can do this or that and enjoy it. Um, but the main thing is that I wanted to try and make a difference. So I was like, okay, what can I do? And because the school that I went to you had to have, certain classes in the certain core fields, for requirements for graduation. And every class that I took, I fell in love with it. I could see different avenues that I could utilize myself, and so I couldn't really, declare a major just yet because I love learning everything.
Mm, mhm.
And so it gets time to where I actually have to declare a major, and I went one way because I had more classes in it, and even after graduation, it was like, "Nope, I wanna try and get, a master's degree and continue learning other ways." So ended up doing that, and, um it it wasn't until I had an opportunity to work in social work where it really made an impact on everything else that I've learned through
Mm,
college and, my early adult life, that it was like, this is it. This is where it all comes together, where you can make the most impact, and just from that experience, I think I was able to do a lot for the students here at Warren as well as the families, and making sure that, one, they're not alone. Other families are out there, and the best thing that you can do is always ask for help. Even if you might feel no, kind of reserved, no, I don't want this stuff being out. eh, I always tell anybody that's looking for help, just think that it's a pay it forward type avenue.
mhm,
You know,
mhm.
we're you- you're getting this, and then the next time if somebody is struggling, pay that same information forward to them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That's great. It's humbling. It's humbling when you need help for sure.
Yep.
Especially when you've been independent and been, successful or whatever, and then to have to need help. I've been there. I've been there. So
Yep.
I get it. So if you could, so let's go back to the program just for a second. So you have this program, you've got it going, you're doing amazing things. So what have you guys done for like the educators, the teachers, the support staff to help them? I'm assuming there's referrals that are made. How does that whole process, like how do the kids get funneled in, and what kind of infrastructure did you have to put in place?
So the first thing that we did was, we actually worked with our, um, therapists, in the Belpre area, and that is Hopewell Health Services. So we partnered with them, and we're like, instead of having all of our kids always go to you guys in Belpre and that, come on into the school because that's where you're going to do the most help. And you'll be able to see them in a different environment than what the parents are seeing. So
Right.
that was our first thing, and, teachers, they, make a referral, and with having our counselors here on site, it helps them get a right now type evaluation of what's Johnny or Katie really experiencing.
What if every student could work with a therapist who brings not just credentials, but years of experience and wisdom to the table? At Lighthouse Therapy, most of our therapists have over 16 years of real world experience. We don't just fill seats. Instead, we find therapists who've seen it all and know how to help. And every new therapist is paired with a mentor to help them guide them every step of the way. Whether through virtual, hybrid, or in person delivery, your students are getting services that's thoughtful, experienced, and genuinely human. Visit lighthouse therapy.com/brighter together to learn more.
And with that, you know, it helps create a plan of what they need to go ahead and talk with the mom. They could have had a pass away in the family, or, they just didn't sleep well the night before, or mom and dad are having some issues. And it gives them more support to go ahead and be able to talk to. Um, and so we started that. The other thing that we did was after those conversations, if more things did come up, phone calls were made to the parent of, "Hey, we heard that, you are having some trouble getting food. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?" And at times, some parents were hesitant. Um, but again, you have to approach it from a more of a caring aspect of, we want to make sure that you guys are getting everything that you can. And it's okay for asking for help, but there are resources out there and it would be free to you. Um, so we did a lot with that, and that was the main starting point of of that. So the teachers did the referral to us, and then we took it from there. The other thing that we have offered are trainings for the teachers,
Yeah.
especially with the McKinney-Vento or our mental health trainings. One good thing that we started, it'd been my second year here, it was mental health, like, awareness, day. So we took our community-based members and resources, brought them into our school, and students were able to pick 4 areas that they were struggling with, and we got those resources and were able to give them hands-on information right then and there. And then with all the success that we had from the review of the students, we took that same feedback down to the middle school level because we started seeing an increase of mental health concerns down there. And
Gotcha.
so we did that for 2 years in a row. And now we're doing it, trading it off. 1 year's at the high school, and the other year is going to be at the middle school, just because with everything that the resources are um, having to deal with themselves as far as their own schedule, it's kind of tough to do a full day for twice twice in the year.
Gotcha.
So
Oh,
it
yeah.
does seem
Mhm.
like it's a little bit better for them, but the kids love it.
Wow, that's great. That is, it sounds like you guys are doing so many things for the kids to help them and the families and the community. And my goodness, it's the need is high, but you guys are definitely rising up to meet that need, and it's so great. So if there was one thing and that you could just in your job, the hardest thing, whatever it is, what is that one thing? If you could like just go, not money, we know everybody needs more money, right? Obviously, your whole community needs more money. Goodness gracious. But if you could just fix one thing and never have to worry about it again, what would that one thing be? Just one
I would
thing.
probably say
What comes to mind?
transportation. The
Mm,
transportation,
yeah.
because some of these events just doesn't happen, before school or during school. A lot of it happens after school, and parents just don't have transportation. And, if I can go ahead and get our people on board at these community meetings to make their way out here, that should help. Um, because again, everything's either
So are
in
you
the
talking to
evenings.
like So are you talking to like Uber or things like that or taxi
Well,
companies or who are you talking to?
there's a taxi company that is out in Marietta, and they do their driving for a discounted rate. So it's like Uber, but it's less cost for the person that needs it. And that would be absolutely the best result to this area because there's such a need, especially out in the smaller communities.
Gotcha. So it's hard to imagine not having transportation, having had a car or something, some way to get around. I think there's one time where I was taking the bus for a little bit, which was kind of stinky, but I had the bus, I had the bus.
Yeah,
But just not having any
yeah,
and having
the
you'd have to
main
walk, right? They have to walk
right, and
everywhere then.
the main thing is the school bus transportation. I mean, we don't have any city buses out here, um, and it's mainly that for the transportation for the kids if they don't have their own vehicle.
So what happens if a child gets sick at school and mom and dad don't have any way to pick them up? Do they just
The,
have to stay at school until
sometimes that happens. Other times, we do have a school van that we can, take them back. Um, but, you know, it's tough with that because of the schedule and who can actually take them, and is the parent actually gonna be there or not? Um, so we have
Yeah, you can't leave a
no,
six-year-old at home, right? You can't take them
nope,
home
you
just because 'cause they're
cannot
sick
do
if
that.
mom and dad aren't there. Yeah,
Yep.
no, no. Oh my goodness. Yeah, yeah. These are the things that, I really hope that, the message that gets out from something like this is, like, understand that schools deal with this. Schools are dealing with these kinds of situations every single day, and it's not just educating our kids. It's making sure that their emotional needs are met and their physical needs are met because their parents are not. And not necessarily because the parents don't want to, but sometimes the parents can't.
Right.
And it's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking when you see that. And every school has got their own challenges, but boy, this is a big one. I'm just humbled by the fact that you guys have worked so hard and are doing such an amazing job in your community to take care of your community. And the fact that the levy passed by 6 votes, to me, that's an act of God just going,
Yeah.
nope, that needs to happen. So,
Yep.
they're the prompting 6 extra people to go out and vote, right? Because I know that those kinds of votes, those kinds of elections don't get a huge turnout. Like, it's not like a presidential election. So,
Right, right.
grateful for you guys that it worked out. How long is the levy for?
I think it's renewed for 5 years. It's either 5 or 10 years. I'm not entirely sure on that one.
Nice, nice. Okay, well, Anne, thank you so much for your time. Where do people go if they want to learn a little bit more about this student and parent engagement? If they have questions for you, I'm assuming you guys have a website.
Yes, they would just have to go to warrenlocal.org, and it would be underneath the, family resource tab.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your heart. I appreciate what you're doing for your community. Keep up the good work. It's obviously the impact that you're making on these students' lives and these families' lives is something that just is not measurable. It really isn't. So, and you know that, I'm sure.
Yep.
But
Yeah, the
it
main
is,
thing
it is,
that,
it's just
we try to do is make every day the best that we can for each student. So, and I think we're definitely on the right way to do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thanks again for being on Brighter Together. Because obviously you are making things brighter together for your kids, and that is no small feat.
No. Well, thank you, Janet, for having me.
Thank you.